Hey guys, so next week well, in 8 days actually, next Thursday, open carry is going to be legalized here in Oklahoma. Now, as it stands right now, right this minute, there's 42 states in this country that have legal open carry in some form or fashion. Some states are constitutional carry, some states are open carry with a permit, some states it's just a pistol permit or a handgun permit. It doesn't differentiate between concealed or open carry. Some states are, well, it's not, and up until not that long ago, it was 43 states, but then California went full retard, and we all know about that, so we're not even going to talk about California. If you're in California, I'm sorry, but you may as well just click back on this video. Thanks for watching these first 45 seconds. But for those of you who live in a free state, like I said, next week, my state, Oklahoma, on November the 1st, open carry becomes legal. And it's not a huge deal. It's one of those things where all they're doing is removing the word concealed from the Self-Defense Act statute. And it's going to become just, instead of a license to carry concealed, it's just now going to be a license to carry. And there's, as always, there's a lot of arguments on both sides of the coin. My personal opinion is this. I have lived in states where open carry was legal. I have open carried, not just when I was a cop, that doesn't count, but in civilian clothes, I've open carried, and most people don't even notice. And most of the ones who do notice don't really give a shit. So it's not that big a deal, okay? We're talking about states where there's a significant firearms culture, where people are used to seeing firearms on a daily basis, or at the very least an every other day basis. So it's not a huge deal. But there's arguments on the one hand that you legalize open carry and all of a sudden it becomes the Wild Wild West. And on the other hand, the arguments are you legalize open carry and crime drops, and the fact of the matter is neither of those things are true. Okay? There's no empirical evidence to state or to prove either of those two. There was an FBI study that said that, basically the conclusion was there was no conclusion. Okay? But what I want to talk about is, as this pertains to you, okay, this is part of the Your Gun, Your Responsibility series. So as this pertains to you, if you live in a state where open carry is legal, whether or not you choose to open carry or not, that's entirely on you, okay? But what I want to say is do it correctly, okay? We've all seen the videos on YouTube and LiveLeak and everywhere else of these idiots, especially on the West Coast. Sorry, West Coasters. What's that guy? I think he's in Oregon. Oregon, walking around with a GSG 22, the MP5 clone, chambered in 22, long rifle, walking around with one of those, or riding around on his bicycle, one of those strapped down on his back in a park. Come on, really? If you're going to open carry for the right reasons, because it's more comfortable, more convenient, because of stuff like that, not because you're trying to prove a point. Because when you do that, you're just making the rest of us look like assholes. I do a good enough job of making myself look like an asshole on a daily basis. I don't need your help. Thanks. Those guys in California, not that long ago, at I think it was a GameStop midnight launch event, where they had ARs and AKs strapped to their back. Come on, really? You're not helping anything, guys. You're really not. If you're going to open carry, I'm going to open carry because it's convenient for me. Especially in the winter months when I wear long pants. I don't walk around with my shirt untucked because I look like a slob. And here in Oklahoma, where the weather is kind of sketchy at best, we could have a 95-degree day in January. I don't want to have to put a jacket on or something like that just to get to work in the morning, or go into Quick Trip and get my coffee, or go to Brahms and get a bagel. You see what I'm saying? So it's more convenient for me, and it doesn't hurt my case, or in my case, it doesn't hurt that literally everybody in my neighborhood on my side of town that I come into contact with on a daily basis already knows I'm carrying. So it's not going to be a big surprise next week when I walk into Brahms, if it happens to be cold enough and I'm wearing long pants, that my gun is showing. Big deal. But what I want to say is just do it with use common sense and common courtesy. This is a big deal. Part of the responsibility, or part of your responsibility and mine as lawful firearms carriers, is to portray ourselves as not being nut jobs. For some of us, that's easier than others. I get that. But it's still part of our responsibility. Not very long ago, there was a case in Indiana where a guy was open carrying at the, it was Indiana. He was open carrying at the zoo. Now, Indiana is a state like Oklahoma's fixing to be, where it's just a permit to carry. It doesn't delineate between concealed or open. You can do either. You just have a handgun permit. When this gentleman was asked to either cover up his gun or leave the zoo because his firearm was making people nervous, instead he chose to prove a point. All he proved is that he could go to jail, because that's what happened. Okay? And he made the rest of us look like assholes. Don't do that. Common sense, common courtesy goes a real long way in this world, especially common courtesy. Okay? You can get by without a certain amount of common sense, but common courtesy will get you a whole lot farther than being a dickhead will. Don't go into places where you know it's going to cause a problem. Okay? Don't open carry where you know it's going to be an issue. And I'm not talking about Walmart, because Walmart doesn't care. Okay? Walmart actually has a policy, a corporate policy, against putting up signs or anything like that, except in states where it's illegal. Illinois, against carrying of firearms in their stores. Okay? So if you go into a Walmart and somebody asks you to leave or asks you to cover up or anything like that, they're breaking corporate policy, and they're opening themselves up for a whole lot of problems from the corporate side. Walmart's pretty serious about this. They're pretty pro 2A, believe it or not. But don't open carry to shock people. Don't open carry to prove a point. Don't open carry, just don't open carry if that's your motivation. Just don't do it. Seriously. Conceal. Cover it up. It's not that big a deal. The fact of the matter is that most people aren't even going to notice. Okay? If you happen to be in a convenience store, in my case, a Quick Trip, but you know, some places have 7-Elevens or Wawas if you're on the East Coast or wherever. If you happen to be in a convenience store and you're open carrying and somebody comes in to rob that convenience store, I guarantee you the last thing on that person's mind is whether or not there's somebody carrying a gun in there. All they care about is getting the money from the register from the 17-year-old high school kid, or high school dropout as the case may be, getting the money from them so they can go buy drugs or whatever. Okay? That's what they care about. Sure, they're going to look around to see for possible resistance, but they're not going to look at your waist, because scumbags don't pay attention. Okay? The flip side of that coin is that regular people don't pay attention either. So if you do it correctly, most people aren't even going to notice. They really aren't. What I usually do, or what I've done in the past and what I will do in the future, is wear darker clothing, darker trousers. I wear black shirts most every day anyway, black polo shirts, so that's not a big deal. My everyday carry holster is black. It's black Kydex. My everyday carry 1911 is a dark color. It's a dark flat blue with dark grips, so it doesn't stand out. Carry it in a natural position, just behind 3 o'clock, between like 3 and 4 o'clock, like around 3:30ish, because that's where your arms naturally fall. And 99 times out of 100, you could be standing there talking to somebody and they're not even going to notice you're carrying a gun. Seriously, because people don't look at waists. People look at hands. Okay? But the thing is hands don't tell the tale all the time. Okay? If I'm assessing somebody as a possible threat, yeah, I'm going to see where their hands are, but I'm going to see I'm going to look at their waist. Okay, I want to see because that's where all your power comes from. All your power, if you're attacking somebody, is coming from your lower body, and so you have to position yourself a certain way. But most people don't do that because most people don't know that. So, whether or not you choose to open carry or concealed carry is entirely on you. Okay, there's a lot of concealed carriers that think open carriers are, stupid, and to a degree, mind you, I agree with them if you're the open carrier who's doing it to prove a point. There's no point to prove. Seriously, stop. You look like an asshole. You're making us all look like assholes. So knock it off. You chucklehead in Oregon, you know who I'm talking about because I know you watch these videos. Stop doing it. Okay? You're a jerk off. But whichever way you choose to do it, just do it responsibly. Use some common sense. Use some common courtesy. Be aware of your surroundings. This applies whether you're concealed carrying or open carrying. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of the people around you. Be aware of people entering your personal space. Okay? Be aware of where your gun is at all times. Okay? Be aware of somebody walking up behind you or off from your side, just out of your peripheral vision. You got to be aware of this stuff. And this applies both ways, concealed or open. If you do these things and you use some common sense and you use some common courtesy, you're not going to have any problems when you open carry. If you're in a state where a permit is required and a cop asks you to see your permit, for God's sakes, just show it to him. Seriously. Let the man do that quick thing. Let him do his job and move on with his day. And you can move on with your day after about a 12.5-second positive interaction with law enforcement. It's not that big a deal. I promise you. Okay? Most cops are pro 2A. Most cops, well, maybe they're not gun guys, okay, or firearms experts, they're pro 2A, and they believe in our right to bear arms, okay? And they're not going to jack you up over something stupid. So there's no need to give them a hard time, okay? You know what? That's it. That's really all I wanted to say, okay? Moving on to other things, I have surpassed 3,000 subscribers. Whoa! So, here's what I'm going to do for you guys. For the next 30 days, what I want is, at some point after this 30 days is up, assuming I get enough questions, I'm going to do a special video where I just answer questions. Okay, I'm going to, it's going to be just me answering viewers' questions. So what I want you to do not ask me a question in a YouTube comment. I won't answer it. I promise you. I barely read the comments, honestly. It's very rare that I respond to a YouTube comment. If you have a question, firearms related or otherwise, okay, whether it's firearms or gear or holsters or, just how my day is going or whatever, email it to me, okay? rich@GunTortureTests.com. That's the email address. Email me your questions, and in about a month or so, I will do a video where I'm just answering viewers' questions. Make sure if you do email me with a question, you state very clearly in the email whether or not you want me to identify you as the person asking the question. If you state that you want me to, I will. If you don't tell me you want me to, I won't. I'm not looking to give out anybody's personal information or names or email addresses or any of that crap or YouTube handles or whatever, okay? If you don't tell me that it's okay to say, this question is from Joe Blow, YouTube channel Joe Blow Blows, then I won't say anything. I'll just answer the question. I think that's it, really. Next week's Halloween. Have a safe Halloween, okay? Halloween is one of those special times of year where a lot of good things happen. Kids are out having fun and trick-or-treating and everything else. But, a lot of crime happens on Halloween, too. Okay, a lot of people take advantage of the whole mask and makeup thing to do nefarious deeds. So, especially on Halloween, be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who's around you. Be aware of, people in your neighborhood, who may look out of place, looking to do dirty. Have a safe Halloween. We'll see you guys next time. Rich from GunTortureTests.com.